Hi, everyone. Welcome to the official ESOP Radio podcast. This is episode 8 of the ESOP Boot Camp. Today, we're talking about who's involved and who works for whom in an ESOP transaction. We're going to do a deep dive. Okay, Ben, let's take it away.
Absolutely, Trevor. So first and foremost, who works for you, the seller?
Good question, Ben. The ESOP advisor, also known as the ESOP quarterback, is the main person who represents the seller in these transactions. That's what we do here at Menke. We are ESOP sell-side advisors, ESOP quarterbacks. You'll see some industry lingo out there. I'm a sell-side advisor. No, I'm a buy-side advisor. Sell-side advisor is code word for selling something. Quick analogy here. If you're selling a house, you hire an agent to sell your house. They're your quote unquote sell-side advisor. Same thing here with selling all or part of your business to the ESOP. You need to first start with a qualified ESOP quarterback. ESOP quarterback is going to line up bank financing if that is part of your deal. That's crucial to find the best player that'll be friendly to the company and be the right lender now and long-term into the future. Next up is if you're going down the reinvestment path, we talked about the 1042 structure. The financial advisor who helps you down that path, they are working for you.
That's awesome, Trevor. Now, this has to be an arm's length transaction. So on the other side, who works for the ESOP?
ESOP has 3 distinct players who represent them. Number 1 is the ESOP trustee. They are the fiduciary. So for all you out there who have heard that term before, the fiduciary means that they have to act in the participant's best interest, ahead of their own, ahead of the interest of the company, and so on. So the trustee is representing the ESOP and they're acting as the buyer. They will have their own attorney. You'll see code speak out there, ESOP attorney, ERISA, counsel, and so on. Some trustees have their own in-house attorneys, some do not. If they do not, they will be engaging outside counsel. And then also, they will have an appraiser on their team, also referred to as a quote-unquote financial advisor. The appraiser's job is to value your company, which at this point of the deal, you already know what your valuation range is and so on. But guess what? The trustee doesn't. So they have to hire an appraiser to go through due diligence, ask you a lot of questions. Your ESOP quarterback is going to be running a lot of that process to come up with that value range so they understand what the negotiation range is. So those 3 parties represent the ESOP throughout the transaction. And once you come to final terms, agreed on a price, and then close, ongoing, you'll see the trustee and the appraiser as well, ongoing, annual. So once you sell to an ESOP, that stock has to be valued each year, and the appraiser is going to come in and do that year in, year out process.
Let's dig a little deeper into that piece of, the deal is done. And you said that the appraiser works for the company afterwards or helps value the company going forward. Who else works for the company post-transaction?
Yeah, so post-transaction, you're going to have an ESOP Recordkeeper, also called a TPA, third-party administrator. They're going to be handling the annual record keeping, giving your participant statements, and so on, doing the IRS filings, 5500, and so on. So they're working for the company. Now, ESOP advisors and quarterbacks like us at Menke, we handle that piece as well. We have a large ESOP record-keeping practice. So for our clients, we actually have that ongoing relationship. We're there for the deal. Once the deal closes, we're there ongoing. And we cover ESOP advisory for the board and so on. Other players have much different models. They're just focused on doing deals. So once they finish the deal, they're gone. Also, the board has overall oversight of the executive team. So just like it was pre-transaction, the board post-transaction has oversight of the executive team. So I want to highlight that too. So the board, in essence, works for the company pre and post-transaction.
Speak a little bit more on the board, Trevor. The trustee helps the buyer, the ESOP in this place, buy the company or the shares of the company. Could they negotiate for anything as far as board members, things like that?
Yeah, so the trustee, when you go through a transaction, depending if you're selling a minority stake, meaning less than 50%, or a controlling stake, more than 50%, you might see some governance negotiations in there. Definitely in the control, you're going to see the introduction of independent board members, professionalizing the board if it needs to be. It all depends on where you start. If the board's very informal, there's some work to be done there. If you already have a professional board, which many of our clients do with independent members and so on, maybe you'll see additional committees, like compensation, nomination, and so on being added. But it's very much a facts and circumstances process to determine where the board is at today and where it needs to be. And that's part of the negotiation with the trustee.
Absolutely. So then let's talk about fees. I want to hire, as a seller, I want to hire a quarterback, an ESOP advisor. How are these deals quoted when it comes to getting paid?
Yeah, so it varies across the industry. Players like us start off with phase one. We call it ESOP fit analysis. That's the first step. That's the go, no-go analysis. We charge a very clear, simple, straightforward fee there. Figure out the value range, figure out the ESOP structure that meets our clients, meaning you, your goals and objectives, and also what it means for the company and the company's employees. So starting off phase one, that's a very clear place to start. But above and beyond that, say you've already figured out, yes, I want to go down the ESOP transaction, then any ESOP quarterback out there, ESOP advisor, sell-side advisor, whatever you want to call them, they should absolutely be able to provide clear, transparent fees and a clear timeline to go from here to close. Same goes for everyone on the team, the trustee, the lawyer representing the trust, and the appraiser. If they cannot, it's a major red flag. You should run away.
That's a good point. If they don't outline their fees up front and they're in a clear way, yeah, I would head the other way. That's for sure. So in addition to that major red flag, what are some other conflicts of interest perhaps to watch for?
Always ask everyone on the team, do you have any conflicts to disclose? Sometimes you'll be surprised at what you hear. Number two, exorbitant fees. So if it's a relatively straightforward transaction and they're quoting M&A level percentages to execute an ESOP transaction, which by definition, ESOP is a fair market value buyer. So if you're starting off and negotiating in that value range, the likelihood of close is high. So that M&A risk is not there. So you shouldn't be paying A-level fees. Make sure you know that going in. Also shop, talk to 2 or 3 different advisors and make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Another major red flag out there is sell-side advisors or quarterbacks participating in the upside of your reinvestments. Should not happen. You should not fall victim to that. Run away. And what I mean by this is, hey, we'll sell your company to the ESOP for $50 million. You're going to reinvest the proceeds into this vehicle that either we created or we have upside in. And then when you sell that reinvestment vehicle, we get a cut of that. Don't fall victim to that. Another red flag is advisors who speak too fast in IRS or Department of Labor code speak, and often it's meant to confuse you. Any advisor out there should be able to clearly explain what they're talking about and not confuse you. If you find yourself confused after the end of a call, and not understanding what is being spoken about, make sure that you absolutely get clarification before you move on to the next step. Also, be wary of investment vehicles that require you to sign extensive NDAs just to get a look into what it is. Sometimes they'll say, hey, this is proprietary reinvestment opportunity. You need to sign this NDA for us to even talk about it. It's like, okay, with today's transparency in the investment world, that's a major red flag. You should be able to explain to me what it is, whether it's public company, stock and bonds, private company, and not require some sort of NDA just to disclose to me what that is. And lastly, if it's too good to be true, whatever you're being told, it probably is.
That's true. And that's true in a number of areas. That's a good point. So can a bad advisor derail an ESOP transaction?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've seen it. We've had to clean up a lot of deals out there that have gone sideways. The biggest red flag out there is placing their interest ahead of yours. And that means selling you a solution that doesn't make sense, selling you financing, reinvestment options, and so on that just don't make sense. Shoving one solution down your throat, and that can often mean the highest profit one. Overcharging, that's a big one. And then also bringing in people to the deal as a personal favor for those people who might not be the best people or value for the deal. Making it seem more complex than it is. Again, I talked about that earlier, but that's a major red flag. Everyone who's been doing ESOP transactions should be able to speak clearly after doing this for years in, years out. So our goal is not to confuse anyone. If that is our goal, okay, why are we doing that, right? And the answer is, well, might be to confuse you. All this adds up to death by 1,000 cuts. We've all seen this. We've heard that analogy. So true in any sort of business, a transaction, business negotiation, and so on. So again, these are all red flags you need to be aware of going through an ESOP transaction. And on top of that, up to any business transaction for that matter. And also, lastly, remember, you're the star, you're the business owner selling to the ESOP. So you're definitely the star in this process, not the advisors. That's it in a nutshell, how an ESOP transaction works with the various players. Talked about the pros, the cons, some red flags out there as well. I'm Trevor Gilmore, CEO of Menke.
And I'm Ben Spadt, investment banking.
Our goal is to give you, the owner, CEO, or CFO of a successful business, the lowdown on ESOPs in a quick, straightforward manner, because your time is valuable. Since 1974, Menke has been a full-service ESOP advisor. We've done thousands of ESOPs. Also, as an ESOP ourselves, we're ESOP native. Connect with us on LinkedIn. We have a page about ESOPs under Menke. Check out ESOP Radio, or check out our website, menke.com, which has a wealth of information. Feel free to reach out to learn more about ESOPs, including our ESOP fit analysis, which is the first step in assessing if the ESOP is right for you. Have an awesome day, and join us for our next episode 9, Life After the ESOP Transaction. Take care, everyone.